So the longer we have to wait for any official confirmation about a Jigsaw 2 or Saw 9, whatever they end up calling it, the more I think, as a fan of the franchise, that there is legitimately something they can do that can make this film better. And the more I really want them to put all the efforts forward to making this film a legitimate experience for everyone who's been waiting. And maybe that's a little cynical. Maybe it's something that's going to irk me in the future of this series. But as a longtime fan since the very beginning of the Saw franchise, I feel like I have to talk about this. So let's discuss it. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. That's right guys, today we're going to be talking about the future of the Saw franchise. And as I already said, there's been very little in terms of legitimate news or even speculation about a 9th film in this long-running horror franchise. The things I've already talked about on this channel, but I'll just briefly go over it right now, is yes, Lionsgate has talked about the fact that they used to rule the horror genre with the Saw franchise and everything else that they did in the early 2000s. Given the fact that the horror genre itself is really on top of its game and basically ruling the world, everyone wants to see these movies and be scared. Lionsgate wants to get back into that business. They want to dominate it yet again. So at least in terms of my perspective, this is something where they're pointing out to everyone who pays attention. The fact that Lionsgate owns the Saw franchise makes me wonder that they're going to bring it back sometime sooner rather than later. This is a complete money cow for them, and they're not going to want to get rid of it very easily. At the same time, a couple months ago, it was told to the fans that Josh Goldberg and Pete Goldfinger, the writers of Jigsaw, are well on their way of writing a 9th installment into the franchise. Yes, the last film made over $100 million, and given the fact that Lionsgate actually owns the Saw franchise, there was even speculation and reports that the movie made a profit even before it became a worldwide release in 2017. One of the reasons is because when a movie like that, something that a studio actually owns the rights to and can sell to foreign markets for distribution, they can sell that. They can sell the property, they can sell the profitability of the property, and people will buy into it. So making back that $10 million for them for at least the production budget of the movie wasn't a huge risk for Lionsgate. It was something that was definitely always going to be profitable for them. And certainly, if rumors are to be believed, it was a profit-making adventure for them. Something that they're definitely going to want to replicate in the near future. Of course, there's also likely the less known, but also pretty cynical idea that Tobin Bell just recently got divorced, and the court order speculated that if a Saw 9 movie were to actually happen, that his divorced spouse would get some money from that. So it doesn't really confirm one thing or another, but it does at least indicate that there's a possibility that he's going to be making money from an inevitable 9th or maybe even 10th film. That would at least tell us as fans that it's possible. So just throwing it out there, obviously terrible news, but it's definitely something to discuss when it comes to the overall story of Saw and whether or not we're actually going to be getting a 9th film sometime in the near future. But because we haven't gotten a whole lot of official word about a 9th film in the franchise, the fact that it's already been a year since Jigsaw was even released, despite this financial success that came after it, and knowing that horror movie franchises are usually, especially when it comes to the Saw franchise, quick to talk about what's coming next and announce what's coming next, striking while the iron is hot. And the longer that I have to wait and speculate about what's going to happen next in this franchise, the more my mind goes off the rails about what I want and what could possibly be possible in the future. So the one thing I really want to focus on here is the fact that just recently we got the Blumhouse readaptation, reboot, re-timeline, whatever you really want to call it, of Halloween, where it ignores essentially everything in the entire franchise besides the first film and allows for that story to continue with its original characters and its original storyline in a modern day setting. One of the reasons that movie was a super big event for horror movie fanatics is that, yes, we have nostalgia for it. Yes, we've grown up with it. Yes, having Jamie Lee Curtis in The Shape actually coming back, but we also have Blumhouse, who has legitimate horror movie credit in this day and age after releasing Split, Get Out, and almost everything else that they've released in the last couple of years, ever since the Paranormal Activity movies in 2019, building their reputation for quality content, as well as a legitimate market for original and unique horror movies. I think that Lionsgate, if they want to dominate the horror movie market again, has to take a similar route when it comes to the Saw franchise. They need to have a legitimate story bringing back the nostalgic parts from fans, even though it's only 15 years old. Even though the Saw franchise, which I really don't believe gets enough credit for being an iconic horror movie franchise, on the same level as Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger or Chucky or Leatherface or any of these other horror movie icons, I think that they need to bring back the various players and the various story elements that made the Saw franchise popular to begin with. And I would actually start with bringing back Shawnee Smith, Costas Mandylor, if you can actually get him. Bring back Carrie Ellis, because as I've seen in my comment section, a lot of people really want these characters back. And after Jigsaw, after really exploring who Logan is, his connection with John, and where he came into the legacy, this is a major question that we really need to answer, and I think it could be a major selling point for the future of this series. At least one more movie, maybe even marketing Jigsaw 2 or Saw 9 or whatever you want to call it as Tobin Bell's last movie, continuing with Matt Passmore as the new Jigsaw and Hannah Emily Henderson as his apprentice, or at least someone who is complicit in what he wants to do in the future, but focusing primarily in the same quality sense that they did in Saw 6, with various characters that we had lost to time in this franchise, reintroducing them and showing the relationship they had with our new characters, connecting the old story to the new, and allowing this franchise to connect all various films instead of just softly rebooting it in the same way that Jigsaw did. I'm a fan of that. I actually like what they tried to do with Jigsaw, but I have to say, as a fan of the franchise, the longer that I have to wait, seeing nothing of progression when it comes to Saw 9 or any legitimate confirmation that we're going to get it sometime soon, and everything that I'm seeing surrounding the Halloween franchise and the reignited vigor of the Friday the 13th franchise, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and every other legitimate horror movie franchise outside of the Saw universe, I want Lionsgate to dominate the horror franchise by allowing the fans of this series a chance to yet again see their favorite characters like Hoffman, Amanda, Dr. Gordon. Heck, throw a ton of money and get Lee Winnell back as Adam just for one movie. Give us a complete nostalgia trip that is set primarily in the universe of the first 7 movies, but continues it in such a way where we as fans can accept who Matt Passmore is trying to be in this franchise and know that it's going to continue with him. One last nostalgia movie for everybody. I think that would make everybody happy, at least for me. Tell me in the comment section below whether you agree with me. Do you want the Saw franchise to continue in such a way where it begins to accept or move on and forget about the previous 7 films despite actually staying in that continuity? Or would you like them to give us a complete fan servicey movie in the same way that Halloween 2018 did? A direct continuation, bringing back all of our fan favorite characters and giving us a reason to be nostalgic for the things that terrified us when we were actually kids. Tell me what you think about that in the comment section below, because I really want to hear all y'all's thoughts and opinions on that. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. And heck, man, guys, go look in that description section below, hit that link, and go follow me on Twitter, especially if you want to talk about the Saw franchise, horror movies in general, or anime, or anything really, because it's stuff I'm always willing to talk about, and it's so much easier to talk to you guys on Twitter than it is to talk on YouTube, despite reading the comments and even replying one way or the other. YouTube doesn't notify me whether or not you reply, and we can actually have a legitimate conversation. So they will do that on Twitter, so make sure to go follow me on there as well. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real.